Yo, what's happening, Raider Nation? It's your boy Soto here. You know what it is. Raiders versus the world, talking about the team that the world loves to hate, your Las Vegas Raiders. Okay, so day one of the draft is done. Okay, we went chalk, and there was, like I said, like four elite players in college this season, and three of them were gone by the time we picked, and we got the fourth in Ashton Jeanty. It's a position of need. It's something that we desperately needed to fix because of last season, how terrible we were running the ball. And we're going to get to all that, plus an interview with Ashton Jeanty. But before we do, I want to make sure everyone please like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's an excellent way to support the channel. It's absolutely free to do. And it's the bare minimum you can do to support the channel besides doing absolutely nothing and just watching the video. Before we get started, okay, what a difference a year makes, right? Last season, Tom Telesco and AP were like, we got to run the ball. We got to be physical. We got to run the ball. And then they let Josh Jacobs walk. And Tom Telesco doesn't want to pay Josh Jacobs, but then he doesn't use all his cap to make his team better. Doesn't make sense. I get not wanting to pay Josh Jacobs what the Packers ended up paying him, which wasn't a ton. Then you go around and just don't use the cap that you do have. I don't know, man. Then this season, you have John Spytek and Pete Carroll like, yeah, man, we need to fix this running game. We need to really need to run the ball. And then they get the head and shoulders best running back in the draft class that people are saying is like the best draft class for running backs ever. All good stuff, man. All good stuff. It just baffles me how what people say and what they do don't line up with one another. And that's what happened last season when, you know, Telesco and AP were all about being physical and running the ball. And then the moves that they did really didn't match up to that. All right, guys, forget all that. That all happened in the past. We're working about this in the future with Ashton Jeanty. So let's take a listen to his first interview.
First of all, Ashton, congratulations on being picked and seeing your dream come true. I'm just curious about what were you thinking? You mentioned in interviews the Raiders, but inside as it was coming, how excited were you about the potential of being a Raider?
Just man, super duper excited, um, ecstatic. So just grateful for the opportunity, and thankful that they're willing to take a chance on me.
Hey, Ashton, it's Tashawn Reed from The Athletic. I know obviously you still have to dive into the playbook and everything, but just kind of from meeting with him and observing him from afar, what do you think about Chip Kelly's offense? Obviously, you saw what he did at Ohio State last year.
Yeah, I think it's he does a great job at getting everybody involved and obviously using those running backs in the run game, and so I'm excited to go into that offensive scheme, and I think they'll use me to the best of my abilities.
That's right.
Hey, Ashton, congratulations. You've already scored 2 touchdowns at Allegiant Stadium. Maybe more are on the way. What have been your impressions of Las Vegas in your time here and your visit here? And why are you so proud to represent this valley?
Yeah, man. I mean, first of all, I got to shout out, Mark Davis, the owner, Spytek, GM, Coach Pete Carroll, running back coach McCullough. But my impression of it has been great. It's a great city. There's a lot of history. In the Raiders building, a lot of amazing players have went through there. A lot of winning and championships. So I'm excited to go over there and be a part of that.
Ashton, Vinny Bonsignor with the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Congratulations. There's some conventional wisdom that you don't take a running back in the top 10. What do you say to the talk of that, and how proud of you are you that you were a running back that said no, running backs do deserve to be taken this high in the draft?
Yeah, I'm very proud of that, and I'm just thankful for this opportunity, and I'm gonna show everybody why it's the position is valuable, and it is great to take an exceptional running back in the first round.
Exceptional. That's what I'm talking about.
Ashton, Levi Idris with the Las Vegas Raiders. Congratulations. throughout your draft process, you talked about a little bit about some of the meetings and things that you did with the Raiders. Was there a moment that really struck out to you talking to Pete Carroll throughout this whole process that really was like, man, I can play for this guy. This can be my coach?
Yeah, I think literally from the first day we got there and, we kind of went in the meeting with all the guys they brought out and, he said, we like to compete here. That's what we're all about. And the first thing that we did was a shooting competition and I actually won. So I think that might have sealed the deal,
Yeah.
Hi, Ashton, Mark Anderson, AP. Obviously, Pete had a lot of success with Marshawn up in Seattle. Do you see any kind of comparisons, especially the way you were able to break tackles at Boise?
Yeah, I mean, and even, growing up, Marshawn was one of the first backs I started watching and, looking up to. So, definitely just breaking tackles, making, crazy plays down the field. There's a lot of similarities there.
Hi, Ashton. Levi Damien, USA Today. So, John Spytek and Carroll, Pete Carroll as well, talked a lot about putting a heavy emphasis on character in this draft, and you have a pretty impressive background with characters and whatnot. But what would you say that in this process that you got the feel that maybe they were the most impressed by in terms of your character?
I think just how I carry myself, my humbleness, and my intelligence, the way I talk, and I think the first impression is very important. So off the rip, they're able to see what kind of person I was when they first met me.
Hi, Ashton. Congratulations. So every football player dreams of this moment. How does the real thing compare?
Shoot, it's amazing. It's just as great as I thought it would be. The feeling.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Ashton. We know that the Raiders are a storied franchise. I'm just wondering what in its history and what you know about the Raiders excites you to put on the silver and black.
Just a lot of amazing players. I mean, Hall of Famers, winning that big trophy, the Super Bowls.
Hey, Ashton, congratulations. This is Vic Tafer from The Athletic. I'm wondering if you heard about Spytek's son threatening to leave the family if they didn't pick you, and what was your reaction to that story?
It made me laugh really hard. But once I kind of seen that come out on social media, I'm like, man, there's no way they're not gonna pick me at number 6 if I'm there.
Ashton, this is Hondo Carpenter from SI again. Quick question for you is when people talk about you, they talk about your work ethic and that you're never satisfied. So my question is, obviously you're a great back to be picked at 6 overall. What do you got to get better at?
Shoot, every single thing, but I think most importantly, pass protection is going to be one of the most important things.
Excellent.
Being able to pick up the pressure, protect the A gaps, protect that quarterback.
Great answer.
Hi, I'm Myra Gomez. Bienvenido a los Raiders. Welcome to the Raiders. I understand you have some international background with you. Can you just talk about what it feels like to know the global fan base that the Raiders have and just a little bit about what you expect from them?
Yeah, it's amazing. Opportunity, great community there, and great fan base. So I'm expecting a lot of fun, a lot of energy, a lot of great times.
Thank you.
Victories.
Again, Ashton. So, I mean, obviously to get where you are right now, it takes a lot of discipline, and I would imagine you got a lot of that from your father, from the Navy and all that. Can you tell us about what you gleaned from your father and all the years, in his military background?
Yeah, I think most importantly, discipline. On the days where you don't feel motivated or, it's a little harder to get up early in the morning and, do the things that nobody else is doing, to continue to do that no matter what. It's having that inner discipline and always working harder than others because anything great that you get in this life is going to come through hard work.
That's right.
Hey, Ashton, Nick Walters with Channel 13 here in Las Vegas. This is a very unique opportunity, not just to star for an NFL team, but to star for an NFL team that's only been in its city for 5 years with only one playoff appearance in that time. What excites you about this chance to start a new era for Raiders football that is characterized by winning and in this city?
Yeah, I mean, just like you saying, man, winning, that's what everybody wants to do. So I can tell that that's the culture there. That's the history of the Raiders organization is winning. So I know they want to get back to that, and including me, they're getting the right people to make that happen.
There you go.
All right, thanks so much, Ashton.
Thank you.
Yo, dude, there's one thing that a lot of people lack in today's age right now. It's self-awareness. There's something that a lot of people, they feel like they're better than everyone else. They feel entitled. They act entitled. Ashton Jeanty was asked, and this is like the best running back in a running back class that's like generational running back class, okay? They asked, what do you need to get better at? His two answers were, I need to get better at everything. And then he went a little bit more specific and he said, I need to get better at pass protection. That's something that I talked about that he needs to work on. But like I also said, he's a hard worker. He's got a high football IQ. I don't have a problem with him. I think he's going to be really good at it once he starts working harder at it. The fact that he's aware of the things he needs to get better at, and he's not just be like, oh, well, I should get better. Oh, nothing. I'm the best. You hear all these kinds of answers. He gave a legitimate, honest answer, and it was factual. It was correct. Yes, he doesn't need to get better. If there's one kind of little chink in the armor, it's his pass protection isn't the best. And he was honest with himself. He was honest with us, saying, yes, I need to get better at pass protection. That says a lot about a kid who was by far the best prospect in running back position in this draft. I'm not saying he was like, leaps and bounds ahead of everyone else, but I don't think anybody put any other running back ahead of Ashton Jeanty. It's a great start, man. It's a great start. I'm really pumped up about this. I had 3 names floating around in my head. It was Mason Graham, Ashton Jeanty, Armand Menbu. They just happened to go 5, 6, and 7, like right around where I thought they were going to go. So it just makes a big difference when your plan and your actions match, right? We all know that guy who's like, yeah, I want to do X, and then their actions are opposite of that. I'm not going to harp on it, but last season, AP and Telesco were talking about how they wanted to run the ball and be physical, and then they let their all-pro running back walk, and seemingly because of money, and then they don't use all of their cap. That doesn't match up to what they said they wanted to do. Then this year, you get Spytek and Pete Carroll like, hey, man, we got to get back to running the ball. We need to fix this running game. And they get the best running back in a great running back class. I'm telling you right now, these are things that bode well for what's going to happen coming up in the next couple of days of the draft and in the next couple of years with Raider Nation. All right, guys, that's my time for today. I really appreciate you guys watching. I'm going to be live tonight. This comes out Friday morning. I'm going to be live tonight for rounds 2 and 3 of picks for the Raiders in the draft. Go ahead and make sure to check that out. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's a great way to support the channel. It's absolutely free to do, and it's the bare minimum you can do to support the channel besides doing absolutely nothing and just watching the video. All right, guys, that's my time. Until next time, everybody. Peace.
Hey, Raider Nation. Thanks for watching. There's plenty more where that came from. Go ahead and smash that like button, drop a comment, make sure to subscribe, and share to all your socials. It's the bare minimum you can do without doing absolutely nothing.